Principal Wartz was the stern principal of PS118. He took great pride in his job and was very effective in keeping his school running smoothly. But there was a lot more than meets the eye about this Nickelodeon principal. In this video, I'm going to talk about Principal Wartz's personality, talents, secret interests, best moments, and more. Welcome to Dial Up Digest. If you want to watch videos all about TV shows from the 90s and 2000s, subscribe for new videos every Thursday. Let's start off with Principal Wartz's signature look. Principal Wartz had a balding head with gray hair on the sides, a large round nose with warts on it, and a heavy-set build. He wore a white-collared short-sleeved shirt with a red tie, blue pants, and black shoes. Principal Wartz's main role in Hey Arnold was as the principal of the school Arnold and his friends attended, PS118. The way he ran the school was strict and by the book.
Eugene Horowitz, you have been caught red-handed in the pulling of the fire alarm, a most serious offense.
He was always very adamant that any students who broke a school rule would be held accountable. He usually lacked compassion when dealing with students who acted out. His unrelenting pursuit of avenging wrongs sometimes led to punishments that seemed a little too harsh. Principal Wartz's serious attitude once even got him into trouble, which caused him to temporarily quit. This happened in the Season 5 episode Principal Simmons, when Mr. Simmons was then elected as the new principal. As enthusiastic as Mr. S was to be in this new position, his accommodating nature prevented him from effectively controlling the students. Principal Wartz's heavy-handedness was thus likely for the better as it kept the school in order. Upon realizing this, Principal Wartz returned to his position. He took great pride in his work and loved being an elementary school principal to the point where he couldn't imagine having a better job.
Wouldn't you like to become an elementary school principal?
Not really.
While Principal Wartz was a very strict principal, he was lenient with his students once in a while. Principal Wartz was a competent principal, but he wasn't the sharpest character in the show. We can see this in the Season 2 episode Phoebe Cheats, where Principal Wartz has an awkward moment where he misunderstands Phoebe.
Oh, sir, I can't write.
Nonsense. We're proud of our multicultural students here at PS118. Where do you come from, Phoebe?
Kentucky, sir.
Well, Phoebe, let's make Kentucky proud on Thursday with a prize-winning poem.
Aside from Principal Wartz's life at school, we did learn a few things about his home life. For one, he seemed pretty well off, especially compared to some of the students at his school. It's not clear if Principal Wartz lived with anyone or if he lived by himself. He never mentioned any family members nor a spouse, so I think he lived alone. He seemed to be a very independent character even at school, where he didn't really interact with other staff with the exception of Mr. Simmons. Principal Wartz and Mr. Simmons were very different in their approaches to dealing with their students. Principal Wartz was stern and serious, while Mr. Simmons was compassionate and patient.
I'll handle this, Simmons. This boy is obviously disturbed. I'm gonna ram the door. Grab the kid, get him in a headlock.
Please, Principal Wartz, he needs sensitivity now more than ever. Please, let me reason with him.
The pair enjoyed singing karaoke together and also both hosted after-school activities like the April Fool's Day dance. As for the other teachers at PS118, Principal Wartz could be somewhat resentful of them.
Typical faculty attitude. Blame all your troubles on the administration. How am I supposed to run a school when you teachers put me over budget?
Typical administrative gobbledygook. How can we teach when we don't even have a book for every kid?
That's the kind of profligate attitude that takes us down the slippery slope to budget slippage.
If I hear the word slippage one more time, I'll...
Slippage.
In addition to being a very assertive principal towards his students, Principal Wartz was also shown to be unreasonably distrustful of them.
This is your synthetic vomit, is it not?
No, it isn't. I didn't do it.
Don't you try and weasel your way out of this, young man. This type of harmless practical joking is a very serious matter. No buts. I'll expect to see you in my office at recess time. We can discuss how you're going to spend your week's detention.
I find this ironic considering when he was a kid, he was labeled as the school snitch after he told his teachers about a prank his classmates pulled. The distrust his fellow students had for him was so strong that it stayed with him through college.
I was stuffed into lockers, kicked me signs taped to my back. I can't tell you the abuse I suffered from practically every person I ever came in contact with.
When Principal Wartz wasn't at school, one of his major interests was music. In addition to karaoke singing, he was also a fan of Mexican music and dancing. And surprisingly, listened to a pop singer named Ronnie Matthews. He even entered into a contest to win a meet and greet with the teenage heartthrob. Other than Principal Wartz's fandom for Ronnie Matthews, he had a few other peculiar moments as well. For one, he once made up an excuse to interrupt the documentary of Mr. Simmons' class so he could be on TV. He also secretly played with miniature toy animals, which he hid in his desk at school. My favorite episode that features Principal Wartz would have to be the Season 3 episode, Sid's Revenge. In that episode, Principal Wartz gives Sid detention for a prank he didn't pull, and Sid is furious. In an attempt to get revenge, Sid ends up carving a voodoo doll in his image out of soap. Once back at school, Sid notices Principal Wartz is absent. He then believes that he caused the principal's death after witnessing several incidences that causes him to believe that this is the case. But of course, Principal Wartz was not dead. I like this episode because it was an example of what can happen if we let our imaginations run wild without getting all the facts in order. What do you think of Principal Wartz? What was your all-time favorite Principal Wartz moment?
I will prevail, I will prevail.
Let me know in the comments down below. If you liked this video, I'd appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok at dialupdigest. Until next time, my friends, dialing out.